Oh, I love it when that happens, when the music ends perfectly and here I am. Ah! Hey everybody, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday at 7:11. I always start a little bit later than the appointed hour because I want people to be able to get here. Notifications are tricky, and so I have to give people time to get here, and I hope that's okay. So I played a little music for you, and you can see some cool quilts and things. And I have been running around like a crazy person. I've been up since like 5 a.m. And it's been a great day. I've been working really, really hard on my video about quilts and fashion, and it's really close now. You might remember, hey everybody, hi. It's gonna take me a second to like calm down because I really have, I've really been running for like an hour getting everything ready for the show, because I was so focused, in my like editing thing. Do I have my headphones? I've got these big headphones, Eric has, and I use them when I'm editing. So I was like in the rabbit hole. Well, not even in the rabbit hole. I was in the editing hole. It's its own hole. It's a thing, and it's really dark in there, and you sort of like zero in on what you're doing, and all of a sudden it was 4:30, and it takes a while to get everything set because I really care about this show. So I knew what I was gonna do, but that's like half the battle, I gotta like get stuff organized. So tonight, like, I have so much for you, like so much great content, It's always the goal. But I, this show is not a presentation. It's not a lecture. It's an exploration of quilt like wonder. And so I'll be discovering along with you a lot tonight because I have like images ready for you, and look at all this. I have so much. I have lots of photocopies, and I have books and all kinds of things lined up. But I didn't go over everything as much as I sometimes do. Most of the time, this is how the show is, right? I gather things together for us. I gather images and text, and we look at the most amazing things that we can possibly see as quilt nerds. I try to bring them to the show. And sometimes I'm able to have a little bit more background for some shows than other shows. But tonight we are going to learn together. So I'm excited about it. Okay, who's here? Oh my God. I missed you. The last time I've seen you was like Saturday night. Feels like forever ago. Hey, Ivana. Oh, you're first in the chat. I love that. Word and Bird Nerd, good evening to you. Mother Nature, Sue, Quilting Politic, love it. Myra's here. Padma's here. God bless you all. Dana, you're sewing and listening tonight while you recover from COVID. Dana, how has it been? You don't have to talk about it, but like, how many days is it now? Like, is it like day 5, day 10? A friend of mine is, it's a month that she's been sick, and yeah, she's still sick. She's better, and then she gets not so good again, and it's crazy. I hope you're doing okay. You're sewing, so that's good. Word and Bird Nerd, did I say hi? Yeah, okay. And Queen Bee, it's so good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. DD Brew Crew, my DD Brew Crew, my microbrewer. I just have to say it. And yes, it is nice to have Dana back. Bridgewater in VA. Hey, Twittering Bird. We have so many birds here. It's like we have Word and Bird Nerd, and well, let's see, we've got Word and Bird Nerd, and then Little Bird Stitch, and now we have Twittering Bird. I'm just saying we're birds, We're birds. We're birds up in here. I'm so glad that you're here and you subscribed you subscribed at Tier 1. That's fantastic. I appreciate you. Teacher Stitch, working on basting and connecting some hexagons tonight. Ready for some nerdy fun. Oh yeah. It's coming. Quilt Sandwich. Padma's got her quilt sandwich. Mother Nature and Cindy D. Hello. in YouTube land. Sohani, it's so good to see you from Pittsburgh. I don't know if I knew you were from Pittsburgh. Cindy from Wisconsin, just a beginner here. We're all beginners here. In fact, the whole Twitch thing, you know, some people are, I mean, there's OG people. This is like month 5 of the Quilt Nerd show. And the people who've been here from the beginning, you know, they're like seasoned Twitch people now, you know. But that's relative, because when I came to Twitch 5 months ago, I didn't know anything about it. And I didn't know about live streaming. And most of the people in this room didn't either. And I could have done it all on YouTube, but I like Twitch. And I think in time, it will become clear why, you know, I chose this platform to base the show out of. And if you're in YouTube land, which of course some of you are, including Sohani and Cindy and Sonia and that Russian bot who loves to show up, I'll miss him when he goes. And Ms. Nine Patch, of course. Eric Wolfmeyer, he's back. I'm so glad. Eric says, I never thought of myself as a quilt nerd until I started watching your show. And now I'm pretty sure I am. Eric, it happens. You're not alone. You have a support group. We're a support group. I'm so glad you're back. It's flattering. It is. So yeah, we're all new at this. You know, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing, right? I mean, I've been in front of a camera before, and I've been a nerd before, but I've never really been a nerd in front of the camera before, you know, and like, I really want to entertain you, you know, and, but I also want to learn with you, and I'll keep greeting everybody. I see Jill Alex. Oh, Jill Alex, I have one of my announcements, because, you know, this is look, all of this material I have to move. So you see, I have my Quilt Nerd content plan. And one of the announcements has to do with this book idea. Yes, I have good news. But anyway, so I can tell you that the reason for this show, sometimes I do all the introduction and then I say hi to people and then, you know, but today's been so intense, right? Who knows what's going to happen, but I'll tell you now, like, what this is about and why we're here, and because yeah, I am new to Twitch and I'm new to live streaming and I'm new to all of this format. But the thing is a couple of months ago, maybe 6 months ago, my husband Eric and we like this particular journalist, and like I said, people who have been here know this story, but people who haven't been don't. So my friends can get some crisps, you know, can get our crisps, and for the new people, you can hear this part. But we like this journalist, and this journalist that we kind of follow. She has a Twitch channel, and we thought Twitch was for video game people. You know, we didn't know that it was for anything else. And so we tuned into this journalist's Twitch program, live stream, and it was mesmerizing, because she wasn't playing video games. She was essentially live streaming. She was broadcasting her research, like while she was online, while she was reading this and that, and, you know, making notes or watching videos and just sort of exploring, you know, the topic that she specializes in. She turned on the camera and shared her screen, right? And the people who are interested in that topic were in the chat, just like now. And it was so cool. I was like, wow, that's so cool. And I kind of couldn't look away. And I didn't really chat, you know, but I was so interested in what she was like looking at and what she had to say. And it was just great. And all my life, well, it seems like all my life, but like for the past 10 years or more, I've been such a quilt nerd. I learned how to make quilts, and then I was teaching quilts, and then I was lecturing and doing all this stuff. And I fell in love with quilt history. But all of the stuff that I look at on a daily basis, I can only share like this much of it when I'm giving lectures or when I'm, you know, boring someone at a cocktail party. I mean, there's only so much I can share. I have so many files on my computer and so many books over there, you know, and in storage, so much wonderful stuff, you know, about quilts. And if you stick around the show for any length of time, you'll see that, you know, quilts are so much more than, you know, blankets that you might have in the attic or things you think that grandmas make. Quilts are art, and they are culture, and they are history, and they're women, and they're men. Eric is a man. Eric Wolfmeyer is a phenomenal quilter. He's a guy. And so quilting is just, it's this fascinating, deep thing, right? And so I learn all these amazing things, and I find all this amazing stuff, about quilts and in all these multifaceted ways. But I couldn't possibly share all that I have, but I want to. And so I saw this journalist, and she was doing this, and I was like, well, maybe I could do that, I mean, I should do that. I should share all this stuff that I have with everybody, like in real time, because time is short, and I don't know. I'm a middle child, I need some attention. So here I am, and that's kind of how this came about. And so that's it. So that's what we do. We kind of nerd out, and I don't know. It's been fun so far. So Ivy Kadivy, hello. Kristen is here. Ivana drinking Franziskaner Weissbier. Oh, no. Dee Dee, I'm sorry. If you're not like in any way related to that kind of world, I apologize. But, you can see why I have the idea. And Ivana is cooking wild rice and candied carrots. While Cooper, your hubby, grills his famous rosemary garlic pork chops. Well, that's very nice for you. Love that for you. I do love that for you. It sounds amazing. Hey, Susan. I was supposed to catch up on the Discord this weekend. I didn't. But I have a good excuse. Holmes subscribed with Prime. You're subscribed for 4 months, and you're on a 4-month streak. I really appreciate it. If you subscribe to my channel, it supports the work that I do here. I work for you. I love doing it. And it's so encouraging when you subscribe. It's really great. It makes me feel good. It gives me a little wind in my sails. And you don't have to watch ads. And you know what? I don't even really think I've figured out the ad thing. I got to come clean on that. I think I have to manually do that. And if anybody from Twitch has just like dropped in because they found my channel randomly on the program or on the platform, I don't think I'm running ads. I don't think I've run a single ad since I started this show. Because I didn't know I had to do it. I thought Twitch just kind of butted in and did it. But I think I have to like press a button. Oops. Well, I mean, I'm going to have to at some point. I mean, come on. These binders, they don't pay for themselves. Anyway, so that's fun. Anyway, but the ads are coming. So you should really subscribe because, I mean, this could be the last ad-free show of the Quilt Nerd show. Yeah. The subscription options. Okay, so in Twitch land there is a $4.99 tier 1, and then there's tier 2, which is $9.99 a month, and then there's tier 3, which is $24.99 a month. And I don't really know what these different things, what I can offer you at these different levels, but so far $4.99 is an ad-free experience, and you get special emoticons. We have like a whole bunch of different wonderful things, like a welcome basket for people who are new. We have a bee, so when you're really mad, and you have a bee in your bonnet, you can put a bee in the chat. Now this works in Twitch. It's not a YouTube thing, so it's a Twitch thing, and I mean, like I said before, it's all new to me. So the YouTube and Twitch, merger part of this, merging the chats and merging the memberships and stuff, I'm figuring it out. I'm a one-woman show. Every week, I think I learn a little bit more about how to do this, but it's slow. And relatively speaking, maybe it's going pretty quick, but it feels slow to me because I'm just flying blind. But if you're in the Twitch and you have your subscription, you can have all these wonderful little quilt church. There's a quilt church emoticon because we have sound effects. And one of the first sound effects was the quilt church sound effect, because this show for 5 minutes was called Quilt Church, because it feels like that. I have sound effects to share later too, new ones, because I promised. Anyway, so in the $9.99 subscription level, you get a postcard from me, a vintage postcard, personalized postcard from me, a quilt related, of course, postcard. And I mean, that's all I got so far. But at the $24.99 level, no one has subscribed to this. And I really hope you don't. I mean, you can, but I got nothing for you so far, except the idea that maybe we'll do like a Quilt Nerd After Dark session, like, I don't know, every other month or something, and we'll get real. I don't even know what that means, but you'll probably learn things about me and yourself that you just never thought you'd learn on a quilt show. I don't know. I'm still working it out. But you subscribe through Twitch, and you can subscribe for free with Amazon Prime. You get a free Twitch subscription with if you're an Amazon Prime member. So that's really cool. So that's kind of the deal. I'm a really bad salesperson, but that's what I can share with you about that. Thank you for asking. And I hope you subscribe. You love the primetime streams. I do too, Holmes. I'm finally catching up on the chat. I do too. I love the 7 p.m. I do. When I go back to London in like a month and a half, the schedule will change a little bit again. But I'm going to tinker with it a bit, because I like this primetime stuff too. Hey, Rod Ipsalala. Oh my gosh. It's so good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're back. Kay, hello. You're in California, and you're going to catch up on some sewing, and I'm so glad. Kristen went for a run in Pittsburgh. It's 8 degrees. You can't get warm. May I recommend a quilt? Actually, if you have a lot of batting, just wrap yourself in batting. That would be it might be quicker, even quicker to warm you up, because, it's batting. Karen, hi. We're going to talk about the Bicentennial quilt that we didn't get to last time, the Afro-American Bicentennial quilt that was made by Oregonian women years ago, and that was stolen in 2020, but returned. Fascinating. We're going to talk about Texas tonight, Texas quilts, and I'll tell you why. I have some amazing quilts to show you tonight. Butterscotch schnapps, Susan. That's great on a Tuesday night. Butterscotch is my favorite, ice cream related flavor. Biv is here. Wonderful. I'm so glad to see you. Quilting politic. You say you're an old hippie, and there's magic words. They're magic words. I'm glad to hear it. How did I know? You're an old hippie as well. Well, that's good, Padma. God bless you. Let's see. Hey, NDH, thank you for subscribing. You subscribed for 3 months through Prime, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bip and Twittering Bird. I'm so glad there's Twittering Bird. Elaine is here. No, a nun maker is here. Kristen, you love this color, this pink? It's my pink sweatshirt. Carol, hi, hello. If I miss anybody, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to at all. I'm just going through things, and if I think I said hello to you and I didn't. And Dana is, yes, you're on day 4 of the COVID. It's not good, but I'm glad you're here. Leslie, Leslie Levy. Leslie Levy's in the chat, y'all. This is good. This is real good. Leslie Levy is in the chat. Leslie. Now I feel like, I don't know, I should have read that earlier, because I'm a little keyed up. I was working on this video, and I've been talking about it, this quilts and fashion thing, but I finally figured out what was going wrong with it. And it was scripted, me talking to these people about how they can't cut up quilts for clothes, and I was really stiff and really earnest. And I figured out I had to throw away the script and just talk to people. And so it was exciting, and I filmed all of that today. And so I was editing it. And I'm excited, and I'm nervous, because I'm gonna put that thing on YouTube, and a lot of people are gonna be mad, and I don't care. But it's I'm my energy is really Yep, I'm not the only non-gamer on Twitch. It's true. Fiendor subscribed with Prime. Thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing for 4 months. I appreciate you. Okay, yeah. Bonnie, welcome. Your husband supports your quilting too. You gotta have one of those. I hope everybody can find a partner that supports their quilting issue. Bonnie, okay, yeah, Bonnie, and SJ's here, and Karen. God, okay, I think Nose to Quilts is here. I said hello. I think I've got everybody. Okay. I'm sorry if I missed anybody. Elaine, hi Elaine. And Sonia is here, and Sohani, and Shasta's here. Sohani's in Pittsburgh too. Okay, Jay Dancer. Oh, now I'm feeling like I gotta get rolling. I'm thrilled to be stateside too. Okay. Oh, SJ, you like this one? Sometimes things happen and we have to. And there's a new. I promised Padma. I think I promised you a new sound cue. The last show. I mean, I have it in my notes. Make sure to do the new sound effects. And I have the spooky sound effect, and the graduate sound effect. Like when we get really nerdy, we should have the sound effect that's like this. Okay, you ready? Ready for this? I need to put it on the sound board. Okay, but I have the sound cue ready. Okay, right? I got it ready. And then this is the spooky one. But I don't know. You tell me if you like it. Oh yeah. Sorry. I forgot. I there could be a spooky like da-na-na, da-na-na, which maybe could be good. But Dusty Springfield, And that was the first sound cue we had, because Dusty Springfield, son of a preacher man, quilt church. So I was thinking about, Dusty Springfield, and she sang spooky. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's easy to do, but then there's, Dusty. So, okay, we'll see. I like it. I like Dusty too. All right. So, let's get into this. I've got a couple other things to share with you, but enough, right? Enough. It's time. So, not spooky enough? Yeah, I know. It's maybe SJ. Oh my God. SJ says, I'll subscribe at $24.99 if I get the privilege of playing the sirens. And approved. That'd be great. I can give you siren access. I can. We can work this out. I will sell sirens for $24.99 a month. Hey, Sherry. Sherry is first time chatting in YouTube. But emergency, cutting up quilts or painting on antique quilts. Sanford Biggers, LA artist with an exhibit happening now in LA. The thing is, the art thing, it's kind of, we got to talk about Sanford Biggers. I just saw an exhibit that he had, or a gallery show he had. He's on the way, And we're not going to talk about it tonight, Sherry, but I so appreciate your comment. And the art thing is like slightly different for me than the fashion thing with cutting up old quilts. But again, we're going to table it just for now because we have so much wonderful stuff to talk about. But I see you, and I appreciate the comment, and I know what you're talking about, Okay, so here is what's up. Let me get small. Help, I'm small. What is the quilt behind me? Every show starts with a different quilt as the backdrop, and that's just kind of this amuse-bouche, this little starter, this appetizer for us before we get into everything else. And this quilt, it might surprise you. Let's see the whole thing. So this is the whole thing. It's a crazy quilt. Most quilt makers, even if they're not quilt nerds yet, or if they don't know too much about, quilts that came before can probably identify a crazy quilt. You know, they're very distinctive. They have lots of different pieces. They're scrap quilts. Okay, at their most fundamental level, they're scrap quilts. They're improvisationally pieced. We talk a lot about improvisational quilts these days because a lot of modern quilt makers who make quilts in the modern style, they do improvisational piecing, right? Where they don't have a pattern necessarily, or they have part of a pattern, but then they riff. You know, they improv a little bit. They sew this to this, and then they see kind of how they're feeling. And you know, later tonight I'll read you something from a book about quilt makers in Texas, and it's interesting. Like, if you ever, we talk about this sometimes, but if you ever read something about a quilt, like if someone talks about it in a book, or you're at a museum and they're talking about a quilt, right, that's hanging on the wall, or if you ever hear anybody say that, you know, a quilt is made haphazardly, or the quilt maker just sort of, you know, didn't even know really, you know, how good she was. She just sort of put her pieces together by instinct or something. I mean, it's true that quilt makers who do this kind of quilt, who put things together in random ways, or it looks random. That's the thing. It looks random, but every quilt maker who makes a quilt makes a decision about every piece that she or he sews in. You know, you can't just like toss a bunch of fabric up into the air and end up with an amazing quilt. And so it's a subtle thing, but for those nerds who are growing in their nerdery, or for people who haven't really thought about it, even for people who, you know, have been quilt nerds for a while, I mean, it's this subtle thing, but it's not true. That's the thing. It's not true that a quilt maker is just throwing things together randomly and it ends up great. I just wanted to say that because I think we have to advocate as quilt makers for, you know, we have to assert ourselves as creators and as makers. I mean, we're not just like throwing something together and hoping it looks good. I mean, maybe if you really hate making quilts, and some people have made quilts and they hate it, you know, like, and they don't do it much, right? Some people are like, oh, I made a quilt once, I was miserable, you know. Maybe that person was like, I'll sew this to this, I'll sew that to that, I don't care, give me a strip, give me a scrap, let's get through this, you know. It's totally fine. It's happened. But those who really love doing it, we have a purpose, we have an intention. We are craftswomen and craftsmen and artists, and and so a crazy quilt looks like it's chaos, or it looks like it's just crazy. But I guarantee you that the person who made this quilt, who we're gonna learn who that person is now, she knew what she was up to. Okay, so let me zoom out here. Let's see. It's not wanting to do that. Okay, that's fine. Okay. I don't know why it doesn't like that. Okay, we're gonna look at it like that. So this quilt was made, surprisingly, not in 1883, which would be normal for a crazy quilt, because a lot of crazy quilts were made in the 1880s. Like, they're Victorian style quilts. They were all the rage in the 1880s. But this was made in 1983 by a woman named Jane Kaufman. And Jane Kaufman, hang on, I'll pull this thing up. Jane Kaufman is interesting to me because she is she's a person we're going to hear more about in a show coming up soon. Jane Kaufman, and I'll tell you, let's see, let me get this here. Jane Kaufman was an artist. This is from her obituary, okay, in Art News in 2021. So in June of 2021. Jane Kaufman, a fierce second wave feminist. By the way, I had never heard of this person until I saw this quilt randomly tell you how. Pioneer of the pattern and decoration movement. Arts activist and a member of the Guerrilla Girls. You ever heard of the Guerrilla Girls? It's a big deal. She died of lung cancer at her home in Andes, New York on June 2nd, 2021. She had just celebrated her 83rd birthday. Okay. Although she resided for the last 17 years in the Catskills, few of her many acquaintances in the area knew of her distinguished past. They remember her instead as a vivacious, funny, terrific gardener. So here, Jane Kaufman, as this just said, is a person who looms large in the pattern and decoration movement. And I have this book on the pattern and decoration movement, okay? And I'm reading it, I'm looking at it because, hey, Dee Marie. Dee Marie, I'm so glad you're here. And thank you for sending me that book, by the way. I just wanted to say thank you. So I've been reading through my books. I have so many here in Chicago, and it's so great to be here to be able to look through them. And this is one of them. And the pattern and decoration movement has a lot to do with the world that we are so interested in, with the quilt world and how quilts behave or how they're seen in the fine art world. And so I'm really looking at this, and the work that's on the cover of this book is Miriam Shapiro's work. And Miriam Shapiro was one of those quilt makers, or one of those artists that was involved in the Artist in the Quilt exhibit, the Artist in the Quilt project in the 1980s, remember, where fine artists, like fancy artists like Miriam Shapiro, were paired up with quilt makers, and the quilt makers made the fancy artists' artwork into quilts. That weird thing, right? Well, the pattern and decoration movement is really interesting. It's just like this very female kind of female-led, not totally female by any means, but like a female-led sort of movement that was, I don't know, it's really a fascinating time. And this woman, Jane Kaufman, made this quilt, and she's really famous, and she's really important in that movement. And there were many quilts made at that time. And so I'm really looking at how that worked, right? How that happened and what that meant in the art world in the 1970s and 80s. So anyway, so that's Jane Kaufman. Hey, Joyous Fibers, thank you for subscribing with Prime. That's so cool. I appreciate it. New Elizabeth, you're back. I'm so glad to see you. I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming tonight. Thanks, everybody. Sarah quilts, too. Sarah, you saw a Guerrilla Girls exhibit in Pittsburgh. Really? I'm sure it was good. They're very interesting, the whole group. Kristen's asking, how come I can see some people on the Twitch chat, but can see them on the screen? Was trying to find my fellow Pittsburgher. You know what, Kristen? It's because the fellow Pittsburgher is, who is it? Sonia? No, Sonia. No, it's Sohani. Sohani, right? Yeah, it's Sohani. And the reason, Kristen, is because I'm airing on YouTube and Twitch at the same time, and the YouTube chat and the Twitch chat are different. And doing both is kind of tricky, because I'm glad to do it on YouTube for the people who, are on the YouTube, vibe and haven't experienced Twitch yet. I hope people do come over to Twitch, because it's safe and it's nice, and that's where the show is really based. But I understand, and I want to do the YouTube thing as well, at least for now. But the chats don't merge, not yet. So I'm working on it. But it's Sohani B. So if you log into YouTube or click over to YouTube, Kristen, you'll see the chat over there, and it's Sohani. She's in Pittsburgh too. All right, so let's see. Shasta, hello. Sherry White, first time chatting, but I said that. Hello. And Ivana, different Ivana, right? Okay. Jennifer, it's good to see you. Okay. So last time I promised to share with you a really amazing story, and that's what I'm going to do. This quilt, so we talked about those political and campaign quilts last time. And we looked at those, remarkable Artifacts. Remember that one? I'll put it in the Discord. I need to do some show notes from that show. That one made by that 13-year-old girl with the ribbons. It's crazy. So there were really miraculous quilts in that book. And this was one of them. And I didn't want to talk about it at that time because there was too much to say about it. It deserves its own segment on Quilt Nerd. And that's what we're going to do tonight. Hey, Susan. Oh no. What happened? Jody Thompson just subscribed. Thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you. Thank you. So this book that I had, the Political Quilts book, it had this quilt in black and white also. That was another reason I wanted to give it some more space and some more time, because we have color pictures of this quilt. And this is it. This is one of them. This is one of the pictures of this quilt, which is the Afro-American Bicentennial Commemorative Quilt. Okay? And I've got some stuff to read to you about it. I've got some images of it, and I have some video to play as well. So we'll see how the different parts, when we want to go to the video and whatnot, but there's a lot to say about this quilt, and I'm going to zoom in to different parts of it. But what I also have for you tonight is some screenshots of different blocks with wonderful descriptions about them. And so I'll give you an example of what I mean, like this. The picture is a little blurry, but it's really wonderful how the Oregon Historical Society has done so much work on this quilt, and there's information about every block in it. And as you'll see, that's really important because every block is super specific and important in this quilt. So let me read to you about what this is. So this is from the Oregon Encyclopedia. The Afro-American Bicentennial Commemorative Quilt in the collections of the Oregon Historical Society depicts 500 years of national equality issues and African-American personalities in the United States. In 1974, independent scholar Ms. Osley J. Jeanette McPherson Gates conceived the idea of making a quilt as part of her broader project commemorating African Americans in U.S. history to be exhibited at the Oregon Historical Society in Portland in 1976. And we know, we nerds, right, that 1976 was a huge year for quilt making because it was the bicentennial. And so, like my mom and Liz, they met in 1975 at a quilt class, and they wanted to learn how to make quilts. And there were different reasons why they were interested, but the upcoming Bicentennial of America was one of those reasons. It was like an occasion to connect with roots and make something authentic and all those things that people want when they think about, making a quilt or buying a quilt or wearing a quilt. Quilts have this huge cultural currency, and so it was the 200th anniversary of America coming up, and people were interested in making quilts again. Hey, Caitlin. So 1974, this woman, Miss Osley J. Gates, is like, let's get a quilt going, right? Mrs. Gates recognized the bicentennial as a national landmark event and did not want Black history ignored. For her, African Americans are unified by three factors: religious heritage, struggle against oppression, and strength of family ties. The project's other component honored the contributions and sense of community of African Americans in Oregon by borrowing their family heirlooms for an exhibit. Cool, I did not know that. Mrs. Gates selected 14 prominent, socially motivated Black friends in Portland who she knew celebrated their heritage. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead and show you these women. They're just amazing. This picture is awesome. Okay. So these are the women. They were not quilt makers. And so often in these bicentennial quilts, and there's so many of them. I mean, they were made all over the place. They were made from coast to coast, small towns, big cities. There were, lots of kids made these quilts. You can see old photographs of kids in class, making their Liberty Bell blocks and stuff like that. And a lot of people weren't quilt makers before that, before they started doing these kinds of projects. So they weren't quilt makers, but for 2 years, the 15 women collaborated on a 30-block quilt that revealed, quote, the markings on the road to freedom from a multidimensional aspect of human endeavor, unquote. The quilt blocks were created to show, quote, critical economic, political, and social equality, as well as significant cultural contributions which shaped America. The quilt blocks were created, The project included keeping thorough records of meeting minutes, monthly newsletters, the audit report, and a scrapbook of newspaper clippings, correspondence, and other ephemera. The 73.5 by 87.5 inch quilt is constructed of 30 12-inch appliqued or stenciled blocks of cotton and cotton percale with embellishments of embroidery stitches and knitting. The blocks are set with 3-inch sashing strips of red, white, and blue, a recognized symbol of bicentennial quilts. Totally. We see this all the time, right? The quilting stitches are simple vertical and horizontal stripes, horizontal lines that follow the edges of the sashing stripes. So, stitching in the ditch. The quilt tells a story or narrative using a style popular with African-American quilt makers who used fabrics to create images that invoke memories, history, or lessons from personal experiences. This quilt is unique as a group quilt exercise that honors a broad spectrum of Black experiences. The blocks commemorate the key constitutional acts that affect African Americans, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, and they honor Black luminaries, singers Marian Anderson. Here I've got no, that's Leontine. Hang on. Marian Anderson, I think she's yet to come. I don't know. I missed her if we've already seen her, but we'll find her. Singers Marian Anderson and Leontine Price. I think that's the knitting. Somebody asked about knitting, but I think there are elements of knitting in this, right? In different places, but we'll look closer and see. Jazz musician Louis Armstrong and baseball player Hank Aaron. Each quilt maker chose the number of blocks to make. The subject chose the number of blocks maybe she would make. I'm not sure. And the subject and the stitching technique. The quilters also wrote personal statements about their subjects. I mean, this is deep. Like, I don't know. Maybe other bicentennial quilts haven't been, like, deeply researched like this one. I don't know, but this is amazing. I mean, how much they did. Maybe other people making bicentennial quilts did this kind of activity too. It's possible. You know, it makes sense that somebody would research the Liberty Bell and then make their Liberty Bell block. But, I mean, they did not mess around with this project. It's pretty awesome. So everybody who made a block wrote personal statements about their subject's history and significance, which were gathered in a booklet that is an essential education tool for the quilt. It's amazing work. I mean, look at this block. Look at this. I know that it's not like crystal clear with the resolution on this, but the seal and this, and so we'll learn a lot more about what all of these blocks are. We can learn some of what they are. I mean, there's 30 of them, so I've picked out a few that are particularly cool. In the early 70s, quilt making was experiencing a revival through the Back to the Nature movement, or Back to the Land as I've heard it, which creatively used the crafts of earlier generations. The landmark Whitney Museum hanging quilt exhibit of 1971, Black studies programs at universities, the feminist movement, and the focus on the bicentennial and the heritage and heirlooms of the United States. Quilts, as symbols of women's artistic expression, became popular interpretations. This quilt, like others, offered quilt makers the opportunity to question government action in blocks depicting 40 Acres and a Mule and Dred Scott decision, to commemorate national history in Civil Rights Act of 1964 and Brown versus Topeka, and to express pride in ancestors such as Harriet Tubman, Phyllis Wheatley, and Mary Church Terrell. A comparable group-made quilt, the People's Bicentennial Quilt, which honors the evolution of American minority societies, is in the collection of the International Quilt Museum in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's right. Leslie Levy, that's for you. The Oregon Bicentennial Quilt traveled throughout the state as part of the U.S. National Bank Oregon Historical Society's Bicentennial Express, inspiring many communities to create their own heritage quilts. Those quilts are visual records of the state's history, economics, and geography. The racial integration of the armed forces, look at that, 1945? I can't read what that is. Who knows that? This one here, the national, it's hard to read. Maybe we can zoom out and see. It's 45, right? Tell me. I mean, God, if I'm really off, I'm going to be really embarrassed. But it's, right? God. Yeah, Priscilla, I can't, you know what? I can say more about the pattern and decoration movement when I get more of that book read, but I will. I can read a definition of it too in a little bit. Okay. Let's see. They inspired other 1945. Yeah, I think so too. Those quilts, the other ones that they inspired, that this quilt and the quilters inspired, are visual records of the state's history, economics, and geography. In recent decades, scholars have studied quilters' ethnicity and distinct traditions and focused on quilts as visual documents of human experience. The title of this quilt, the Afro-American Heritage Bicentennial Commemorative Quilt, clearly reflects its subject, ethnicity, and purpose. Mrs. Gates' vision was to exhibit the quilt nationally, and she wrote cities, churches, universities, magazines, and newspapers that had connections with the quilt's subjects. Because of her efforts, the quilt was exhibited at the U.S. State Department Exhibition Hall in Washington, D.C., the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture, a branch of the New York City Library in Harlem, and the W.E.B. Du Bois Institute Gallery at Harvard University. As interest in African-American quilts expanded, the quilt was included in several exhibitions and publications. It was featured, for example, in the 1989 to 1991 touring exhibition, Stitching Memories, African-American Story Quilts. Hello. Sorry, I have to take a note. Stitching Memories. That's interesting. African-American Story Quilts. Cool. And that's this. Okay. Curated by Eva Unger for the Williams College Museum of Arts in Williamstown, Massachusetts. Okay. There's many more places that it was exhibited. Oh, interesting. And how about that? It's in the book Communion of Spirits, African American Quilters, Preservers, and Their Stories by Roland Freeman. Remember, that's where we saw Nora Ezel and her cathedral window quilt. That book, it's right over there. Roland Freeman. It's in there. I didn't know that. Maybe at the break I'll find it. Okay. And so the end of this here says the Afro-American Heritage Bicentennial Commemorative Quilt, here it is again in all its glory, continued to serve as a primer on American Black history in 2020. And then in 2020, let's look at the makers again. On October 11th, the quilt was snatched by vandals who invaded the Oregon Historical Society building where it was on exhibit. The quilt was found blocks away, wet and dirty, and is undergoing restoration. Yeah, so what? Like, what? I'll tell you about that, and then I just want to look at a few blocks a little bit more specifically because, you know, that's what's important, not the fact that it was like quilt snatched. It's really strange. Oh, Rusty Cat. Hey, Rusty Cat. So, Rusty Cat puts in the chat, and I think that's a pretty nerdy thing. I mean, yeah, somebody's gonna get the graduation song tonight. Rusty Cat might be you. Google says Executive Order 9981, signed by President Harry Truman on July 26, 1948, mandated the racial integration of America's long segregated armed forces. So, yes, the 40s. Okay, cool. Yeah, it was found. Okay, so here's what happened here. I have this article printed out, okay? A bicentennial quilt. I have pictures too. A bicentennial quilt. Let's look at this thing. Made by 15 black women, was stolen from the Oregon Historical Society during Sunday's riot. So this is from October 12, 2020. From the... Oh, where did I have... It was a local paper. It's a local paper. By Tess Risky. Among the damage to the Oregon Historical Society last night, the theft of the Afro-American Heritage Bicentennial Commemorative Quilt. This was part of the damage. Okay, it was later located blocks away from the building, soaked by rain. I know. Bees in the chat. Bees in the chat. And Tiny Orchard Quilt says it's 1945. The official executive order was 1948. Awesome. I think everybody. I'm gonna put a B in the chat about the Twitch chat about that. Yeah, the stealing of the thing, and everybody who was looking up stuff. Thank you. I appreciate it. I need help on these things. Okay. OHS Executive Director Carrie Timchuk, Tymchuk, said people smashed the glass doors surrounding the building's entrance. So what you're looking at is a picture from this article of the quilt after it came back. So that's damage. That's like dye, or it's that wasn't supposed to be there. That red stuff. Rioters threw flares through smashed windows, leaving scorch marks on the carpet. God, this pisses me off. Oh, I'm so mad. The Historical Society? Really? Great. It's great. It's super good. For justice. Someone else threw paint over a mural on the Sovereign Hotel building. Timchuk said in a statement, "We are deeply saddened and hurt by the destruction of the property. While windows can be replaced, our greatest concern has been for the Afro-American Heritage Bicentennial Commemorative Quilt, which was taken from its display in our pavilion last night. Each square of the quilt, crafted in the mid-70s, honors a black individual or moment in history and was sewn by 15 black women from Portland who donated it to OHS and entrusted it to our care." According to OHS's website, 1948 and 1945, exactly. Important to note the two dates, exactly. According to OHS's website, the textiles on the quilt were created as far back as... Let me show you this one, hang on. So this is one of the... You see look at the dirt here. It sucks. Oh my God. The textiles on the quilt were created as far back as 1974. After being first shown at the OHS in 1976, the 30-panel quilt was taken on a cross-country tour. We know that now, and exhibited at the U.S. Department of State, the Smithsonian Institution, and the W.E.B. Du Bois Institute at Harvard University. The quilt had been on display in the OHS building. Here is this. This is from the same story. Like, they've got it on towels, right? Trying to dry it out. Unbelievable. It had been on display in the OHS building pavilion since October 1st. Oh my God, it had only been there since the 1st, because yes, okay, so the next thing we're going to look at, this makes sense, for Portland Textile Month. So Portland Textile Month. Excuse me, Portland. You have a textile month? I eat a crisp. And it's raising my crisp to you. That's freaking awesome. I love that. Who does that? Thanks, Portland. So it had been on display on October 1st, starting on October 1st, and this happened on the 11th. On October 15th, Portland Textile Month is holding a free virtual event. This is in 2020, but don't worry, it's on YouTube. Specifically for the Bicentennial Quilt called Stitching History, the Afro-American Heritage Bicentennial Commemorative Quilt. And the event was scheduled prior to the theft of the quilt. That's great. And Sylvia Gates Carlisle, one of the original quilters, will be featured as a panelist. Okay, so then they say that, well, actually, Tim Trick says the quilt will remain off public display, quote, as our collections team assesses any care needs. As we clean up broken glass, scrub paint, and make plans to ensure safety in our building, we also, as always, welcome critique of our work. Unquote. And then he goes on, we would be grateful to have constructive feedback from all of those who are willing and able to aid OHS in fulfilling our vision of an Oregon story that is meaningful to all Oregonians. The quilt was stolen amid a spree of damage at a Sunday night rally called the Indigenous Peoples Day of Rage. KGW TV reporter Maggie Vespa tweeted Monday that the quilt was discovered blocks away from the OHS building and that it was wet from the rain, bleeding pigments. That's what we saw. That was the red, okay? And had a small tear. Wow. I mean, let's just like pause, and they found it, they found it. If they hadn't found it, if it had been destroyed, I mean, I don't know. I can't think about it. It's so terrible, This quilt is important in like 9 ways, in 9 ways, in like 9,000 ways, It's a very special quilt, and here are some of these blocks I want to show you, just to give you just more insight here. Let me start down here, and this is from the Portland Textile Month. Portland's awesome. Yeah, Kristen, no, dirt on my favorite block. Yeah, it's the worst. Portland Blues Fest is the best. That's awesome. Yeah, Portland's great. One of my best friends in my entire life is from Portland, so thumbs up. Stitching History, the Afro-American. So this is from that presentation, and I'm just going to show you a little bit of it. Just to show you that it's there. It's like an hour long, and they talk to one of the quilters and the daughter of one of the women. So this is block 21, Lift Every Voice and Sing by Catherine Bogle. And this is James Weldon Johnson, born in Jacksonville, Florida in 1871. He had several careers and many talents. So I guess, okay, so this is the statement that the maker wrote, right, by Catherine Bogle. I mean, she made the block and wrote the statement. I mean, clearly, right? I mean, that's got to be it. Yeah. Because look. So this is Frederick Douglass. We'll go back to the other one, but block 19 is Frederick Douglass' home, Washington, D.C., and this is by Ms. Osley J. Gates, who is the woman who started the whole thing. And she wrote this, so it's got to be it. So James Weldon Johnson was born in 1871. He graduated from Atlanta University. I'm paraphrasing this, okay? He became a teacher and a principal. But he was not content as a teacher. He read law, passing the Florida bar, but soon found law too prosaic. He's like, I'm good on this. I'm kind of bored. At about age 30, he and his brother Rosamond pooled resources and talents and entered musical comedy in New York, where they became instant successes? Paraphrasing over, Johnson continued to study at Columbia University. In 1906, he won an appointment as U.S. consul in Venezuela and Nicaragua. Do you ever feel like you're just not doing anything with your life? Okay, me too. I mean, you know what I'm saying. This is an amazing life. While working as a consul, Johnson wrote the autobiography of an ex-colored man. You know what? I may be the only person or one of the few people who don't know about this person, so I apologize. I love learning about him now. I may be missing the boat here. May have missed the boat for a long time, but he's amazing. James Weldon Johnson. Okay. While working as a consul, Johnson wrote, the autobiography of an ex-colored man in 1912. He became a field secretary for the NAACP and from 1920 to 1930 served as general secretary. Cool. In 1930, Johnson became professor of creative literature at Fisk University and also a visiting professor at New York University. An early anthology of American Negro poetry and many books of his own poetry were published during this period. An early poem of Johnson's titled Lift Every Voice and Sing, 1900, was set to music by his brother, Rosamond, and quickly became known as the National Negro Anthem, 1940. Cool. Lift every voice and sing. Oh, man. Hey. Wait a minute. Yeah. It's not bad, James. It's amazing. I love that. It's beautiful. Quilts take us everywhere, do they not? They do. Beautiful. Yeah, it is an amazing song. I mean, I haven't thought about that in a very long time, but I can hear it. He wrote it. And he did comedy in New York City and was like, I'm going to write a poem. Like, I'm going to study law, whatever. That quilt came back. Hey, it's Kristen's favorite block. Okay, let's see what this says. Block 13. Block 13, interesting. The Emancipation by Sylvia J. Gates. The January 1, 1863 Emancipation Proclamation signed by President Abraham Lincoln ended slavery in states at war with the Union. The document was proclaimed under the president's war power. Although slaves in Union states remained slaves, the impact of the emancipation was felt in the South, and the Confederacy promised, late in the war, freedom to slaves who fought on the Confederate side. Frederick Douglass's autobiography describes the waiting, that memorable New Year's Eve. Wow. You know what? I didn't know that. I didn't really know. I mean, I didn't know that. And I just read, January 1st. That means New Year's Eve. I had no idea that's so, it humanizes that so much in this very specific way, that it was New Year's Eve. Frederick Douglass's autobiography describes the waiting, that memorable New Year's Eve. William Lloyd Garrison's daughter has also written a description of that night preceding the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay. New Year's Eve, next year, you heard it here first. I mean, a quilt has taught us some pretty amazing facts, I mean, if Frederick Douglass wrote about it and William Lloyd Garrison's daughter wrote about it, about that specific, I mean, it's beautiful and pretty important, right? So, I don't know. I want to read that, and it makes New Year's Eve, different, very, very special in this very specific way for a lot of people, right? It's pretty amazing. So, yeah. Okay. Block 19. It puts Juneteenth into perspective. Totally amazing. Yeah. It's your block. Yeah. Okay. So I've got a couple more here. I want to look at that one too. Yeah, I've got a couple more. Okay. Block 19, Frederick Douglass's home. So this is by the woman who started the project. Frederick Douglass's home in Washington, D.C. Miss Osley J. Gates, wrote this one. It was designated as a national monument in 1972. Frederick Douglass spent his last 12 years there. Earlier designated as a national shrine, it was first opened to the public in 1916 when the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs joined in its care. Douglass's personal library of 1,400 books still remains. How many does Thomas Jefferson have? Huh? 1,400? I don't know, Tom. This is Harriet Tubman. Okay. Harriet Tubman, it's Block 8 by Mildred J. Love. Champion conductor Harriet Tubman of the Underground Railroad liberated more than 300 slaves in 19 separate journeys. Although illiterate, she was a person of great talent and courage, serving as a nurse, scout, and intelligence agent for the Union armies in the South. look at this. This block is really cool. Like, I don't know. I have never done embroidery on a quilt, ever. I mean, well, I guess my COVID quilt involves like a couple tiny little details, like really tiny. But I've never tried to do like illustrative things. I've never tried to do that. It's interesting, you know, these pictorial quilts. She was on active duty from the Carolinas to Florida and is credited with leading a raid from Port Royal. I know, Myra, I know. I feel you. I'm feeling it. It's terrible. Leading a raid from Port Royal up the Combahee River with 150 troops afloat on 3 small gunboats. 3 small gunboats, 150... For her, the North Star was an important guiding symbol on the Underground Railroad, and such code songs as Steal Away and The Drinking Gourd were used as signals for hiding slaves. No mention of quilts, by the way, which is good. When she died in 1913, she was buried in the state of Ohio with military honors. Didn't know that either. This one, and then this one. Yeah, okay, this one and this one. Block 4, Phyllis Wheatley. This was by Gladys McCoy. Phyllis Wheatley, 1753? 1753. That's a long time ago. I wouldn't have said that. I thought it was later. I thought Phyllis Wheatley, 19th century. Phyllis Wheatley, 1753 to 1784, maybe. It's not known. Was about 8 when she was brought in chains from Africa's Senegal. Sold to wealthy Bostonian John Wheatley, Phyllis was encouraged by Wheatley's daughters to learn to read and write. She quickly mastered English and Latin, because you know how you do that, and showed great promise with her poems. Her first poem was published in 1770. Her first book was entitled Poems on Various Subjects, and was published in 1773, and she was America's first black author of a poetry book. So, yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, and then this one, Frederick Douglass. I mean, we gotta talk about Frederick Douglass. So Ms. Gates did this one as well. The person who started the project. Frederick Douglass was born a slave, escaped to freedom. He had a long career as a laborer, abolitionist, publisher, recruiter. He became secretary to the Commission to Santo Domingo, U.S. Marshal in the District of Columbia, the district's recorder of deeds, and minister to Haiti. Widely known as a lecturer, statesman, and humanitarian, he attended the first Women's Rights Convention. Look how good the embroidery is. God, it's really good. There's that's not knitting. That's like, I don't know, crewel work or something. I mean, that's embroidery floss, I think, with his hair, but I don't know. I wonder where all that knitting is. I'm wondering about that too. Someone was asking that. He attended the first Women's Rights Convention in England and was active in the women's causes, including attendance at a suffrage meeting a few hours before his death in 1895. He went to a meeting when he was dying? Of course he did. Oh, that's commitment. I mean, that's amazing. Douglass epitomized freedom. He frequently conferred with President Lincoln and served as a recruiter during the Civil War. His 2 sons were part of the Union forces. His first autobiography was published in 1846, entitled The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. It was enlarged in 1893 to The Life and Times of. On December 2nd, 1847, the North Star, Douglass's paper, was founded in Rochester, New York. The name of the newspaper was later changed to Frederick Douglass's Paper. Appropriate. Douglass urged Lincoln to free the slaves and arm them to fight in the Civil War. After victory, he urged freedmen to get an education. Frederick Douglass lived until 1895 and saw this country swing from slavery to the beginnings of freedom. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I see bicentennial quilts all the time. I look at them. I think about that period all the time. But I don't know. I mean, the depth of this quilt and where it toured and where it went. I mean, it's interesting. We looked at a crazy quilt tonight to start. I mean, crazy quilts are really everywhere. I mean, so many people made them. They were really a trend. They really were a really hot trend. And bicentennial quilts kind of, I think maybe they're kind of similar, right? Because there's so many of them and so many people were on that vibe. It was like the dance craze that swept the nation, And some crazy quilts are really special, and a lot of them are great, and they're great. But some quilts, they're really, really important, really special. And this is one of the bicentennial quilts that's that way, it seems to me. Myra just arrived at her monthly sewing group thing. I have one ear on the presentation and one on earphones. Shh. Okay, we won't tell. Leontine Price's sweater is knitted, says Eric Wolfmeyer. Yep. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah. I wish we had more close-ups like this. I'm sure there's a lot more pictures out there. Yeah, okay, Ms. Nine Patch, you said that too. Okay, now I get it. Yeah, Ivana, I see that. I've been really struggling with the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I'm working on it. So Lavinia's hair and top. Lavinia, let's see. Oh wait, I missed one. Sorry. I got one more. Okay. This one's great. So block one, Alonzo Pietro by Martha M. Payne. Black men have been involved in the affairs of America from the time of its discovery. This is crazy. Listen, 3 ships took part in this voyage across the Atlantic in 1492. They were the Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Nina. Alonzo Pietro was the pilot of the Nina. Did not know that. I mean, you know that? It's amazing. Yeah. So, okay. Emotionally evocative. Yeah, exactly. It's emotionally evocative. So that's the bicentennial quilt, and let me just show you. Isn't this crazy? I mean, look at the damage here. But they'll obviously, the Oregon Historical Society, they care a lot about this work and the work that they have in their building, and so I have every faith that they'll restore it to where it needs to be. And let me show you this, and I'll put it in the Discord, and I'll put the link in the chat on Twitch too. So this was in October 19th, 2020. Okay, so the Oregon Historical Society posted this, and they have a statement on the damage, right? The damage of the quilt. And I'll play that, and then I'll just play a little bit. I can't play much of it, right? But because I don't want to get stomped for copyright stuff. But it's pretty cool to hear a little bit of this. I'll play it at 1.25. Yeah, 1.25. So it's sped up a little bit, but not in a way that you can't understand it. Hopefully, okay.
Okay, a quick note about what had happened at OHS on October 11th concerning damage to the building and the taking of the quilt. This is a statement that you can find on ohs.org and on our social media platforms. It's also been given to the press, and this particular section is about what happened with the quilt. Earlier this week, we had a practice session for the panel discussion today, and I just wanted to quote something that one of our panelists said, Dr. Sylvia Gates Carlisle, who is one of the original quilters. She said, oftentimes it is the people who are the most critical who are also the most hopeful. And this comment that she made really resonated with me in particular. One of the reasons I love working at OHS is that we are a very self-aware institution. We acknowledge the fact that history museums on a whole have inherited a very violent legacy, and that it is our duty and responsibility to be held accountable for that legacy and to be held accountable for our community and the way that we represent our community and the way we represent Oregon history. And so I like to think that this quilt that had been given to the Oregon Historical Society back in the 70s, which was during a time when OHS did not have the particular values on diversity and multiculturalism that it currently has, that this quilt, which was made by 15 different Black Portland women to honor the legacy and contributions of different Black Americans, of different laws that were passed in order to fully recognize the contributions and dignity and humanity of the Black population in the United States, that this was given to the museum as a gift by these women. They had voted to give this to the History Museum. And I like to think that by giving this quilt to us, that it was a bit of kind of like planting a seed, a hope that the museum would someday become an institution that reflected the values of diversity, of the Black community, of multiculturalism, which is something that we are striving to do, though we are not perfect at. Now, on to the presenters for tonight, or today. So first up is Dr. Carmen P. Thompson.
Okay.
Dr. Thompson is an independent scholar and historian of race and the Black experience. Some of you might recognize Dr. Thompson. She was a co-editor and author of the Oregon Historical Quarterly's White Supremacy and Resistance in Oregon issue, which has been very well received locally here in Oregon and the Pacific Northwest. She is currently working on a novel titled The Making of American Whiteness, which looks at the origins of whiteness in the United States.
Oh, she's University of Illinois. That's cool.
Frost, who is a quilt historian.
Oh, yeah.
Mary's research really sees and treats quilts as visual records of the human experience. She has given lectures to a wide range of audiences, from experts at the Smithsonian to Oregonians in church basements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Her quilts on migration in particular have received national recognition, and listed on your screen you will see some of the awards that he has received.
She wrote a book about Mormon quilters. It's really interesting.
So up next we have Dr. Sylvia Gates Carlisle. She is the director of practice management curriculum at the University of California Riverside School of Medicine for the Family Medicine Residency Program, and is the utilization management operations medical director at Beaver Medical Group. She is a descendant of activists on both sides of her family, and she is the last living member of the original 15 quilters who created the quilt that we will be
Isn't that cool?
today.
That's so cool.
And finally,
I wanted
would
to
like
get through these introductions, right? Because it's pretty great.
Sheridan Collins is on the advisory committee for the Portland Textile Month.
Thank you, Sheridan.
Work as a consultant, and she lectures frequently on antique carpets and textiles. And she did a lot of the behind-the-scene work to make today's event possible. And with that, I will hand things over to her.
Yay!
Thank you, Isa. To recap here,
I'll just play a little bit more of this.
Introduction. In July 1976, 15 Portland women in a celebrated ceremony dedicated their newly created quilt to the past, present, and future of Black people in America. They'd worked for 2 years planning and creating the quilt, seeking a meaningful way to mark the 200th anniversary of the nation. The final result we see here, 30 patterned blocks framed by red, white, and blue striping, heralding in chronological order people and events in African American history from 1492 through much of the 20th century. Quilts are common enough, and many were made in Oregon and around the country to mark the bicentennial. Why single out this quilt for discussion? The quilt has proved to be unique, as we'll see, for the quilter's broad goals and seriousness of purpose, a message of hope and patriotism in an era of serious racial strife.
I'm going to skip to, because I want to hear, hold on, I want to hear this lady say something, and then we'll...
Just what was her purpose, and how did she pull the group together?
My mother's purpose in the quilt was to counter a negative narrative that existed about Black people during the time I grew up in Portland. And so the negative narrative was foreign to her as someone from New Orleans. New Orleans, Louisiana is known for Black excellence.
I know, this picture.
And even in Oregon, although there were not many Black people were in Oregon from the beginning. And so the purpose of the quilt was to say, we are here and we contributed here. And that was the purpose of her getting other women who were active contributors to the Portland community together to make a statement piece.
Mm-hmm. Ms. Cross, you're a quilt historian. Tell us in simple terms what a quilt is and what makes this quilt so different from all.
Okay, so this presentation is an hour long. It's great. It's great. I got through enough of it, to see like, okay, we're not going to play the whole thing because I'm covering some of that in the reading and whatnot. But it's awesome. It's great. It's great. Oh, I got to give it a like, and I got to subscribe. You got to like and subscribe to anything you like, on the internet, like this show and stuff like that. So this is here for you, and it's great. And thank you to the Oregon Historical Society for, doing this kind of thing and caring it as much as they do about this quilt. It's pretty great. So the documentation on the quilt is so good. Exactly. So here's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna take a break. I'm not gonna take a break. I could take a break, but I don't want to. I've got vim and vigor, and I don't know. I don't want to leave. So we've looked at a crazy quilt, the one behind me. We spent some time with the Afro-American Bicentennial Quilt, which, in the last show, it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, right? We saw it in that museum exhibition catalog in black and white, and there wasn't much about it. And of course, at the time they made that exhibition in like 1984, I think, the quilt, it's had a lot more history and a lot more exhibition. It's been through a lot more exhibitions. It's been and seen by more people. And so I was like, we're not gonna leave that be. So now we know a little bit more about that quilt, and we've spent some time with the people who are in that quilt and the people who made it. It seems better. I think it's better. And so another thing that's been sort of flying around this place is, for something completely different, is Texas. Yeah, Texas. We're going from Oregon to Texas. And the reason I've been thinking about Texas quilts and quilters is because Quilt Folk, I'm not editor anymore. I'm an editorial advisor, but I'm not editor. And so I don't pick the states that Quilt Folk magazine does at this time. So I am told, what we're doing, and I write for the magazine. And so West Texas, Hill Country specifically, is the next issue that the team is working on. And so those of you who know Fons and Porter, my mom, Marianne Fons, and Liz Porter, I had a great conversation with Liz Porter yesterday for a couple hours. It was so great. Liz Porter lives in Austin, and Liz Porter is one half of the Fons and Porter, brand. And of course she's retired now, like my mom. And it was so, I haven't talked to Liz in a while. My mom and Liz were inducted into the Quilters Hall of Fame last year. So I saw Liz at that ceremony, and it was good to see her, but we didn't have time. And, my mom and Liz, they didn't hang out. They were business partners. And when they weren't working, they were with their families, or they were, I don't know. I mean, Liz and mom were both divorced. I don't think mom dated for like a hot second, but she was really working hard as a single mother, and Liz was too. But they weren't, when I say they weren't friends, I don't mean to say that they were arch enemies, but they just, Liz wasn't over at the house unless they were working, and then we weren't bothering them, So yeah. So Liz is really cool, and I know her more now than I ever did as a kid, because we did Love of Quilting episodes together on PBS, and I talked to her yesterday for a couple hours because I'm writing an article about her for the Texas issue of Quilt Folk. And so I've been thinking about Texas and Texas quilt makers, and I've gotten a couple books. I got this book, Texas Quilts, Texas Women. There's this one, which is very interesting. And then there's also this book called Lone Stars by Carrie Bresnahan and Nancy O'Brien Puentes, that has Texas quilts in it. And it's on archive.org, which is good news for all of us, that you can look at it on archive.org. But So I've got that book hard copy, but I went to archive.org and I took some screenshots of some of the most wonderful quilts that I saw in that book as I was researching the other day, getting ready to write about Texas quilts. And one thing that I was thinking about early on when Brianna, the managing editor of the magazine, told me that it was going to be West Texas, I was like, why are Texas quilts special? Let me pull up some of these quilts now while we're talking about this. But I was like, Texas quilts and quilters, there's something about them. And maybe I know Carrie Bresnahan a little bit. I mean, I am familiar with Carrie Bresnahan. She's sort of the grande dame. Hang on, I gotta get small. Small. She owns Quilts Inc., or started Quilts Inc., and she and her cousin Nancy run that. And she's just kind of larger than life. And the Texas women, I like Texas. My grandparents are from there. My mom and dad met in Houston, got married in Houston, Texas. So I've been to Texas a fair amount. And I don't know. I mean, the barbecues are really good. Barbecue's really good, and I don't know. I like my aunt's in Texas, and she's just got this great Houston accent. Well, hi. Anyway, but I was thinking, like, why, what's the deal with Texas quilters? And I realized after looking at a few different things, they go back generations. I mean, it seems like you talk to a Texas quilt maker and they're like, I'm a 5th generation quilt maker. Or like, I'm the fourth generation in my family to be making quilts. And I think that's it. I think that there's so many, they go on and on and on. Oh, thanks, Ivy Kadivy. It's my pleasure. I hope you got some good quilt nerdery in tonight. I hope so. So anyway, so I got a few of these quilts pulled for you all, and I thought we'd look at them, and that's it, because these quilts are really great, and I've got a lot of information about each of them that I can share with you, and I probably will have to share some of it, right? I can't help it. This is called the Ark and Dove quilt. And it's just so pretty, right? So much bigger. Everything's so much bigger in Texas, Holmes says. So much state pride. You have lots of family there. Yeah, there is. There's a lot of pride to the Texas folks. The intrepid rusty cat. Okay, good night, intrepid rusty cat. Okay, good night. I'm so glad you came. I'm so glad everybody's here. This was made in 1860 by Harriet Lucinda Acker McDavid Russell. That was another thing about this book. Like, every quilter, and like all the stuff that I photocopied out here. Don't worry, I'm not reading this. But they all these quilts have a provenance. We know who made them, and the person has like all their names. Harriet Lucinda Acker McDavid Russell. So it's this lineage, right? This lineage. This graphic quilt can have two. So this is from that Lone Star Texas Quilts book by Carrie and Nancy. This graphic quilt can have two interpretations. I love the ark. The ark is so great. If it was planned with religious significance, then the ark is indeed Noah's ark, and the doves are the sign of rebirth, as told in Genesis. Strong name game, exactly, Raffle. For a frontier woman deeply involved with the land, a severe life-threatening drought such as Rusk County suffered, this is where this woman lived, suffered in 1860, was cause enough to make a quilt that dealt with water and hope. Remember Pure Water? Remember that quilt that we saw last time, Pure Water? So there was a huge flood in 1860, the year this quilt was made. And so it's like, maybe it's a religious, reference, right? However, if the quilt is viewed in the context of the unsettled political times preceding the Civil War... Hang on. You know what we need? All right, yeah. I think we need the organ music for the spooky stuff, but that's kind of spooky. We were just talking about the Civil War. I mean, it's not so crazy that the Civil War comes up in a show about quilt making, but, it doesn't come up every time. But here we are, once again, talking about the Civil War. Interesting. another interpretation becomes apparent if we're thinking about it in terms of that. The arc would represent the nation itself. Would it? Is this speculation or is this like a thing? Okay. The arc would represent the nation itself, with the doves becoming eagles, the national symbol. Okay. In this context, the design could be viewed as an appeal for unity, peace, in the face of almost certain war. Interesting. SJ, the orientation of those wings is breaking my brain a little bit. Yeah, it's it is a little bit, isn't it? Let's zoom out. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, it's really weird. Like these guys are flying in. Oh, they're all flying out. Wait, what? Wait a minute. So this row, hang on now. Oh yeah. Oh, I don't like this at all. I'm freaking out. Oh, don't read ahead. Okay, so the ones on the right-hand side, the two rows on the right-hand side are flying up and to the left. And then in the middle row, all the way over to the left, they're up and facing like north. It's a bit odd. But my question is like, is it like the smoking eagles? Yeah, exactly. Lillianne, by the way, says, when I was stationed in Texas, I just loved the quilt tradition there, plus great modern quilt guilds. You are so right, Lillianne. Hey, it's good to see you. I'm so glad you're back. And Quilting Politic, Lillianne is asking over on YouTube if you ever went to Book People, because she loved it there. She's asking that. SJ Pepper does need a dedicated sound effect. You know what? I've got 9 buttons on that board. No, I have 12 buttons on that board over there. SJ Pep. What would an SJ Pepper sound effect sound like? I don't know. Maybe I'll play around a little bit. You are saucy. Maybe it's like uncorking a bottle of Tapatio or something like that. I don't know. Actually, that would work because Tapatio sauce, if you know Tapatio sauce, you know it's just pepper. It's like red peppers. Eric's crazy about it. You know, the birds, the red birds on this quilt are kind of Tapatio-like. I'm just saying, it's spooky. Don't worry, I'm not going to play it. Okay, so Little Bird Stitch, I see 3 columns of birds falling out of the sky on their back. You know what? There's a lot going on in this quilt. Let's move on. Look at this quilt. Isn't this great? I love this one. I love it. It's so delightful. Texas Star Friendship Quilt. The stars, I can never get stars right. I mean, like, I've tried to do them with applique and my points are just trash. Like, they just look so bad. And this quilt reminds me. Of course, the quilting is sublime. Look, I don't know. I hope you can see a little bit of it. It's just ridiculously beautiful. But like, you know, quilts like these remind me that perfection is just hogwash. It's just ridiculous. You don't have to do a perfect star. The stars that are imperfect are the most beautiful. I'm sorry. You really can't tell me otherwise. Look at these stars. Each one of them is different. They all have personality. You know, they all have something to say. They've all got something to say. And they look like they're floating. I mean, they really do. They really are floating. I mean, that's a term we use, right, in quilt making, when we sash blocks with the same color. Well, you can do different things to make a block float, but when you have it without any border or any other, you know, patchwork around it, those things float. But these float in a way that I've never really seen. I mean, look, this one's floating away. It's getting bonked. It's like a video game. It's like it can't get out of the border, you know? Okay. M. Hicks, don't go away. You can do it. I don't know, people are having trouble tonight, but then other people are like, everything's okay. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if it's me or if it's something on the other side. I don't know, man. Exactly, Dee Marie. The wit is so dry with that one. Yes, mischievous, like what's a mischievous, like I don't want to play like a weasel sound. That's not quite the same. What sound does a weasel make anyway? I'm not sure. I've never known. Yeah, stars everywhere. So these things are they're just floating around, and I just think they're lovely. And it's interesting because like the stars are very, I don't know, I never like using the word graphic, but they are. I mean, I think they're graphic. They're geometric, you know, they're very, the planes are straight lines, but then the border is so floral. Look at this one. Look at down here. The star down at the bottom here, it's almost breaking the frame. I mean, it's running into trouble, right? But that's not a mistake, right? I mean, it's phenomenal. I love it. I love it so much. I love this quilt because it doesn't follow rules. That's the simplest way to say it. It doesn't follow any rules. And it brings us joy, you know? Bip's got both streams going with no issues. Man, I always feel responsible, you know? Ugh. Elaine says, I watched a lot of SpongeBob with my godson. The third star down has a bit of Patrick the Starfish personality. I know that little character. I know that. You're right. He does. I mean, it does. It does. By the way, I realized I think I used a he when I was talking about one of the people who was quoted in that newspaper article about the quilt that was stolen. But I think I was wrong. I think it was that gal who was speaking at the beginning of the video. I'm pretty sure. After I was done absorbing some of that knowledge, I was like, did I do that wrong? I might have. I apologize. So anyway, this was made in 1868. The quilt's owner, Pam Moore, I'm picking like little bits, you know? I mean, come on, we're nerdy, but let's get real. The quilt's owner, Pam Moore, says the quilt was given to her by her grandmother, who inherited it from her mother. See, this Texas thing, they go way back. According to family's history, it's a wedding quilt. Oh my gosh, okay, I should have started at the top. This exuberant hand-pieced, appliqued, and quilted cotton quilt made by 13 women. What? No wonder the stars are all wonky. Everybody was like, where do I put it? I'm like, I don't know. Who's running this thing? Who's in charge? It was presented to one of their number, Margaret Ann Epbright Johnson, for her wedding on May 20th, 1868. Isn't that nice? SJ, what are you up to? Oh, Lord, technical difficulties. This is a square on Quilt Nerd Bingo. Go to the Discord to get your... Really? Do you really have Quilt Nerd disco cards? I just said disco cards. If there's bingo cards in the Discord right now, I have succeeded in my task of starting a show. Because if it's a show that's like it legit or established enough to have a bingo card game, like, I'm happy. I'm really happy. Pop Goes the Weasel, so honey. I'm thinking that's good. Oh, Pop Goes the Weasel, that's really good. It's really good. SJ, you better watch out. Okay, check this out. Okay, this next one. This lady. I'm sorry. It's really, we all, listen, there are pictures of me that are bad. They're really bad. In fact, the worst picture of me that's ever been taken was reproduced many times because it was a picture of me. It was the first picture that ever like appeared of me in like Love of Quilting magazine, and it was in a Baby Lock ad. I mean, it's so bad. I'll show you. I'll show it next time. I'll embrace it. I will embrace. I have to stop licking my finger. I'll embrace it. Worst picture ever. I'll show you. It's really not funny. Like it's not. It's terrible. I don't know. I'll tell you the story next time. But it's bad. This is not a great picture of this woman. I mean, I'm sure she was amazing. Look, Annie Dorothea Walker Fulmore Askey. What did I say? There's like 9 names for every one of these people. It's Padma. What are... I mean, her tongue's out. In fact, you know what's... Oh my God, this is so spooky. I won't play the sound. I won't do it. I don't know. I don't think Dusty Springfield's right for this moment. But yeah, because we need like a da-na-na, da-na-na-na for this spooky moment. Liz Porter. Liz Porter, who I just talked about not 5 minutes ago, not 5 minutes past. Liz Porter had the worst driver's license picture I've ever seen of anyone. We didn't talk about this the other day, but I think it'd be okay. But she laughed about it too, because, and I saw her driver's license, but she was getting her driver's license picture taken and she licked her lips in the middle of them taking it. So her picture was like that. And this woman's tongue is out, right? Yeah, her tongue's sticking out. It's just not, it's a problem. Anyway, but let's talk about what she did right. She made this quilt, which is so cool. Isn't this great? Twilight Zone, yeah, exactly. I found one that was like the Exorcist music. I was like, I'm not doing that. So this is really cool. Now this is a Sugarloaf quilt. I've always loved that name, right? Sugarloaf. Sugarloaf, come here, little Sugarloaf. Oh, that's actually a pretty cute term of endearment. Hey, Sugarloaf. Come here, little Sugarloaf. I think I'm going to use it. But I don't see it. Do you see it anywhere? No. Do people use the sugar? Well, maybe they do. It looks like a motif or a block. It's a block. A Sugarloaf block. Looks like something that could be in the modern quilt, the modern quilter's milieu. Perhaps a motif that shows up because it's got this very, graphic, negative space, high contrast, really sharp angle. I don't know. I think if there are modern quilters among you, I ask you, how would you reinterpret the Sugarloaf block? This neglected, I feel, neglected block. I don't see it much in traditional quilts. It's a deep cut, is what I'm saying. The Sugarloaf, it's a deep cut. You need a big loaf knife. And yeah, right? It's great. It's great. So Sugarloaf. And this woman, maybe it's named after her. Maybe her name's Sugarloaf. Anyway, 1873. Sophisticated sensibility distinguishes, don't read ahead. The conception, get your bingo card out. I just said don't read ahead, so there you go. Sophisticated sensibility distinguishes the conception of this quilt, although its execution indicates more naive skills. I hate that. Naive skills. Like, what? Because it's, I don't know. It bothers me. It's hand-pieced of 10 teal and 10 gold. I mean, naive, listen, let me tell you what would happen to this quilt if I tried to do this by hand. Not this. Naive is somebody who cannot sew together, tiny 60-degree triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 tiny little squares, right? I mean, tiny little triangles, 60-degree triangles. So, like, naive skills, like, I don't know. It's speculation. Hand-pieced of 10 teal and 10 gold triangles alternating with 6 white ones to produce the cone-shaped Sugarloaf that fills each of the 64 blocks. 64 blocks? Are you kidding me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, dear God. People are like, how long does it take you to make a quilt? And it's like, I always say, well, it depends. And if they asked about this one, I would be like, 90 years. Between 9 and 90 years, I think. The piecing is quite precise, but the quilting is rather uneven. Sometimes this indicates one person pieced the top and another did the quilting. Passing the buck, I see. It can also indicate that the person who may have had the leisure time to devote to careful piecing had a change in her life that gave her less time to spend on the quilting. They're reading a lot into this, but that's okay. With this quilt, the latter is accurate, for the quilt maker pieced the top in 1872 when she was carrying her second child, and then quilted it in 1873. Oh, okay. So they're not reading things in. I need to stop. I kind of read ahead, except in my mind, Okay, let's see what else we got. I didn't print out stuff for all of these because I had a lot going on. Look at this. Isn't this cool? This is great. Look at this crazy thing. Ooh, this looks like an owl. Look, ooh, watch this. Hold on, look what I can do. Watch this. I can make it so it's like my ears. hey, you know what? I can't make YouTube and Twitch behave sometimes. And I can't figure out so many things. But I can do that. And I just did. Okay. Yeah, I know. Sometimes the writing, and I think sometimes the writing in quilt books, and I don't want to dog this book because Carrie and Nancy are awesome and the book exists, right? Sometimes it's like, oh my God, making a book is so hard. I'm just glad it exists at all. But in fact, I've got one that I've got for you I think it's the soul quilt of an African-American maker. And just the way it's written about is just all that. It's just all about like the one we saw previously about like naive, piecing and just, remarkable for the level of skill this person had. And it's I talked about it at the top of the show, it's so common that it feels okay, but it, like all of this stuff, like all of that kind of thing, it's just the true story is better. That's all. The true story is better. So like, what's the true story, or what's the truer story? You know what I'm saying? It's just better if you kind of look more closely. And it took me time to figure that out. I'm 42 years old. I have barely a grasp of what really matters in life. It's taken me a while, So a little bit about this thing. Nothing naive about this quilt, the Sugarloaf. Thank you. And Jennifer Maddox says it may be Sugarloaf Mountain. And Lillian says Sugarloaf is great for skiing. But Shasta, hang on. Shasta adds that the cone-shaped hills were named for their resemblance to the common packaging of sugar, which was molded into a cone for shipping and sale. So that actually goes out to Eric, Lily, and Shasta. Yeah, and so, honey, it is totally implicit bias, 1,000%. God, I mean, this is like a master class. It's like Quilt Church, master class. I don't know. I know it's cheesy. I know it's maybe even a little cringy. But I'm going to say it. I learn more from you people than you'll ever learn from me. Okay? And that's a fact. So, we didn't read about this one at all. Hang on. This dynamic, this is Blazing Star. Oh yeah, and it's made by Mary Denman in Angelina County. This dynamic design is a classic Texas country quilt. Vivid colors, naive charm. What is this? What is this naive charm? What quilt do they not say that about, right? Anything that's appliqué, perhaps? No, I just hate that. Oh, wow, this is interesting. Wait. Classic Texas country quilt. Vivid colors, naive charm. This looks like tobacco sack kind of deal. That dark brown, that like madder root brown, so distinctive. Listen to this. Thick cotton batting and concentric rows of toenail quilting. Stitches so big you can catch your toenail in them getting to bed. Which is also kind of throwing shade, no? Have you heard of that? Toenail quilting? Quote unquote, stitches so big you can catch your toenail in them getting into bed, as described by old-time rural quilters across the state. That's Quilt Police. Toenail quilting? Her stitches are so big, she must have done some toenail quilting on that. That's Quilt Police. Because you're like, I mean, that's the kind of thing that like a quilt police woman or a quilt policeman says, and they think it's funny. Like I'm literally having some like otherworldly sort of past life experience right now where I show my quilt at a guild meeting or at a picnic in Texas in Angelina County, and I show it and I'm so proud of it, and someone says, oh, you had some toenail quilting in that quilt. And I'd be like, oh, what? And it's like, well, you catch your toenails in them. The stitches are so big. And I would be devastated. I would be hurt. I would cry, obviously. I would cry. and they wouldn't think maybe it was a big deal, but the truth is that it's kind of a crappy thing to say. And I think sometimes the quilt police don't realize it. Despite its departure from the highly acclaimed formal quilt, an elegant piece with fine, fancy stitching, this blazing star compensates for its casual workmanship. Oh no! With great spirit and a visually arresting style. Damn! It would have been impossible to produce fine quilting stitches on this quilt because of the thick batting, purposefully bulky to provide extra warmth. Well, yeah. This quilt is in unusually good condition. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't love that. Okay, let's see what they say about a princess feather, right? Is this gonna be okay? I know, Lillian. She's like, I legitimately don't understand what naive would mean when applied to a quilt. And that's interesting because, I mean, it's good timing, good question, because I think this quilt will not get a naive thrown at it, right? I have a hunch. And this is this implicit bias. So Hani said it. I mean, there's this hierarchy, for sure. A hierarchy between patchwork and applique a lot of times. Not, hard and fast because, but the fancy work, fancy quilts and everyday quilts, and unfortunately the fancy quilts and the everyday quilts are often separated with a very specific line between white and or wealthy, and people of color and or poor. Because not always, but to make a fancy quilt with quilting that is like insane, like small and like really involved, you have to have a lot of free time. You have to have leisure time. You have to have time to spend on that kind of work. And a lot of the fancy quilts have white backgrounds, like this one. Like there's white fabric. I mean, I don't make quilts with a lot of white. I am a disaster. I have jam on my finger. I ate Nutella the other day and like I walked around for like an hour and a half with like chocolate like this. It was on my face, So it, like you have to keep something really clean, and if you're like taking care of like 6 kids with no help, you're not making a white quilt probably that's like all white, or it's not going to stay white for very long. So you know what I'm saying? So like this naive thing, this like remarkable for what it is kind of stuff. It's like it's like you just gotta watch for it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Bonnie. Naive is Bonnie Village Quilt Buck says. Oh no, I think you got like flagged for me. No, you're okay. Bonnie Village Quilt Buck says naive is a snooty art critic term for someone who has not had professional art education. Yeah. Chill, Alex. Agreed. Casual workmanship. I know. Time and good lighting. Yep. How does fancy? Yeah, it's interesting. SJ says, how does fancy and everyday compare to art quilt and bed quilt? Ooh, that's good. That's a very good. Art versus bed / fancy. Very interesting. So Honey B says Texas women are famous for shade. Yeah. Oh, you know what? 4 words can confirm that. Well, bless your heart. Nobody throws shade like those Southern women. Like, well, bless your heart, honey. Well, your quilt. Well, good for you. Bless your heart and your quilt. Let me get some more hairspray. Shasta says, art produced in a straightforward style that deliberately rejects sophisticated artistic techniques and has a bold directness resembling a child's work with bright colors with little or no perspective. Right? I mean, so rude. That was definition of naive. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's, okay, right, exactly. Naive is art. Naive art is art that is produced in this straightforward style, deliberately rejects sophisticated artistic techniques. Like, where is that definition even from? Like, who has bold directness resembling a child's work with bright colors with little or no perspective? I mean, I take issue. I just do. I mean, this is bold colors too. I mean, I don't know. It's just such a hierarchy. It's such a drag. I understand. And the thing is, I've read a good amount of, working with the Kirikoff book and stuff. A good amount of words written by and spoken by, quilt makers like in the South and black or white, doesn't matter. But they talk about everyday quilts and fancy quilts. The fancy quilt and everyday quilt thing is not like language that comes from the fancy folks. I mean, it's kind of a thing. It's like there's the fancy and the everyday. And women who made everyday quilts had fancy quilts. They made them when they could. And the fancy quilt maker people who mostly made fancy quilts made everyday quilts too sometimes. And so there's that distinction that has been sort of like, it's a common thing. You find it in different places. But so I understand that there's a difference between a quilt like that you would give to your daughter on her wedding day. You would make sure it's like, don't touch this quilt, you little shit. Like, get out of here, get out of here. Like, this is a fancy quilt I'm working on, get out of here. Don't touch it. Don't bother mama, she's working on her fancy quilt, But it's when other people start applying these things, we just have to fight. Like, as quilt people, we just have to fight all the time for legitimacy. And so it sucks when our own number are just being shitty. It's just, I don't know. I'm Shasta, most of my work is deliberately naive. And thank you for your deliberately naive work. If you have an Instagram, I'm sure you do, you should put it in the chat. I'd love to know. I'm just naive in general, so that's all. That's the only thing I really make. Yeah, exactly. My kids, Quilting Politics says, my kids' new company was coming if the good towels were put out. Exactly. I know this quilting. It's really amazing. Yeah, okay, so let's get back to this quilt. So this is a princess feather, and fit for a princess. Why? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Ben-Hur's chariot wheel is one of its name variations. Interesting. Made in 1880. And this, I have a picture of the person who made this with her hubs. It's Bashy. Cool name, Bashy. Yeah, the quilt has never been washed. It was a special occasion quilt made by Bashy at age 15. Are you kidding me? For her hope chest. Really? You know what I had for my hope chest? Nothing. No, nothing. Nothing at all. Because I don't have a hope chest. This is nice. I think I have some stuff for a couple of the other quilts, but not this one. This is another fancy. This is pretty awesome. Susan Michael. Yeah, primitive and naive, used interchangeably to mean that it is the art or the artist is untrained professionally. Yeah, I don't know. Some distinctions you need, and I think maybe some distinctions by themselves are okay, but it's the way people use them, art people in particular, and critics, and I don't know, jerks. This is cool. Just a few more, and then put on for a couple hours. And thank you all tonight. I mean, I don't know. I felt like I came in kind of in a weird vibe. I don't know. Anyway, not gonna spend time on my feelings. This one is called, I put all the things. It's a Carpenter Square. Carpenter Square, 1885. Martha Harriet Kincaid Wilson. These were showing up. I feel like a few years ago I was seeing a lot of these. Have you ever made? It was okay. Good, thank you. Have you ever made one of these? Have you seen these? I swear it was like there was a flurry or a flourish of like Celtic knot quilts and carpenter square. I saw these. I just remember when I started to really look at quilts, and I was teaching a lot. I was traveling all around and teaching, and people would, do the show and tell thing, and I would just see some of these. I mean, this is, God, it's 2 colors, y'all. I mean, it is just, let me actually zoom out. This quilt is one you kind of need to see full, a detail shot is not really so helpful. And in terms of construction, I don't really know about this. You can find, patterns for carpenter square easily. I mean, they're old, and they're varied. There's many of them. I guess I should put carpenter square on the old content list idea. Be interesting. I don't know much about it. Carpenter's square, and there are so many of them. Carpenter square. It's beautiful. You would love to make one. Joyous Fibers, you should do it. I mean, it's so effective. Look how beautiful it is. And on a bed, wow. You know what I want? I want all the quilters, modern or not, but especially the modern quilters, who are like, they're so creative and they have such vision for how to take things away and put them in. And I mean, carpenter square, man. Like carpenter square, go, Because, I mean, look at these middle X's. Look at the negative space, the X, right? These little, like, times signs, all of this white, the little X marks the spot signs. They're so modern. Like, I mean, in the modern style. And you know what I mean when I say modern. I mean, they're just that modern quilting style. It's like, what do people do? What could people do with this? I'm trying to think. I always bring up Tara Fanon, Carolyn Friedlander. What would she do? Sarah Bond. You know what? I bet Sarah Bond has probably done a carpenter square. Yeah, she's probably done it, and it's amazing. So no one has to ever try again. Okay. Oh yeah, look at this one. This is so great. Texas quilt. Okay, I've got a little something on this. How about this? Look at this quilt. It says Texas. Graphic and dramatic. Okay, this was made in 1886 by Rebecca Dixon Callan. It's a classic among word quilts because it honors a state rather than the alphabet, and each letter is pieced. Get this. Hello. Each letter is pieced into the quilt individually, not appliqued as might be expected. That's a lot. It does have a backwards S. What is up with that? I'm starting to be like, with these backwards letters, and I know there's the story that people did it on purpose, and this book says that a lot, but I don't know. A lot of people have said that's just malarkey, that people know their quilts aren't perfect, so they're not going to do something by mistake, but it happens so often. It has to be a thing. Someone must know what that's about. The backward N, the backward S on purpose. Not all the S's are backward. Why did they do it that way? Let's I'm going to turn this thing around. I'm going to turn this bead around. Look at this. Wait a minute. Wait, no. Maybe they're not backwards. Maybe we're just looking upside down. You know what? I think none of them are backward, are they? No, one is backward. Look, right there. You see? An S is backward. And I know people have heard she did it because only God is perfect, and, the quilt maker didn't want to be an affront to God or something. There's just not enough evidence for that. Maybe it's true, but there's not a lot of evidence that that's true. But where's the evidence for why the hell they did it? It's so weird and awesome, and it's so weird though. It's almost like, spooky. One of the S's is backwards. Do a Celtic knot. Do a carpenter square. I'm telling you. Are we sure it says Texas? Oh dear. SJ, what do you think it says? What do you think it says, SJ Pepper? What do you think it says? Don't, if it's, I just, okay. Yep, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. Okay. Yeah, I want to take a look at it big again. Hang on. I mean small. Why is it doing that? I don't like it. Well, I can't make it go away. I mean, I can't make it go small. I don't know why. I'm not happy about it. But I can't. It won't go small. I'll try again. But I don't know. It's frozen in this. It's frozen. So we have to say goodbye. We have to say goodbye to Texas. That's okay. We're wrapping this show up. We can't be on all night. I love this one. You know, is it beyond remarkable? I mean, I think it is. Because look at this circle. Like, the circle in the middle of this star, to me, is unusual. I think it's really cool. It's unusual to me. Yeah. So I wanted to show you. Hang on. Yeah. Great. Okay. I think I've got like, sorry. I got like 4 more. What was that? What is happening? Okay, we're going to do a bit of a speed round. So this is the lady who made that quilt, Mary P. Turner. She seems like she has very blue eyes. Okay. This one, I know, it is a well thought out star quilt. That's exactly what it is, Susan. That's what it is. It's like, oh, maybe that was why. Could that be why? Oh, it is why. I figured it out. You guys have figured it out. I know why. Oh my God, I know why. It'll never happen again. I'm so glad. I figured out why. Okay. Now we can move on. See, look, I can zoom in and out and I know what happened. Yeah, it's a great star quilt. It's great. And it has a circle in it, and then the circle sort of repeats out in the star points. I just think it's terrific. Okay, and we know that Mary P. Turner made it. Okay, get this one. Check this one out. This was made by Lola Demetria Sweeten. 1890 double wedding ring. I mean, come on. This looks like some sort of like 40s bathing suit. You know, it's like serving that. Yeah, I just think it's great. I think it's really, really cool. That red, it's not a stripe, but it looks like it. Pickle dish. It does. Yes, pickle dish. Isn't it? It's pickle dish. If it's a double wedding ring that has these wedges in it, it's pickle dish, right? I mean, it can be. You're absolutely right. As soon as you said that, I thought of that. Yeah, exactly. Yes, indeed. Ooh, Sohani would love to read a quilt mystery where the backwards letters were a codex with secret messages. Someone please write this. Someone please give you the graduation song for using the word codex. It's not really in my working vocabulary usually. Codex, indeed. Okay. Yeah, but that would be amazing. You should write it. Somebody write it. This is nuts. This is a family quilt. Hang on. Gotta get this thing. It's made by this guy. I gotta pull up the thing on my computer. It's made by him. He made it, so it's a dude. Okay, hello. And what does he have to say about it? It's like all of his family names that were in it, that are in it. Let me go back to the quilt itself. It's not super easy to see, but you can see 1887 in there. Hang on, family quilt. I might have to come back to it because I'm searching in the online book. But you can see, I mean, it's a whole cloth quilt, right? And it is. Hang on. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's no piecing in it. It's just him and his. Oh, what's his name? That's what I'll do. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Roberson, J.B. Roberson. Okay, now that's that. Now we're in the biz. J.B. Roberson. Okay, here we go. I got it. This quilt was quilted by J.B. Roberson. They were born here. I don't know. It's his family names. No, I don't. I'll put it in the Discord. I don't. Okay. So it's got his family names in it. I'll try to find it, but I don't want to take too much time searching, through this thing because yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna move on because I can't search for that, and I want to show you this quilt. Okay, I want to show you this quilt because I hate it. I hate this quilt. I usually show you quilts that I love, right? I'm usually showing you like, oh, look at this, I love that. I don't even want to look at the screen. This quilt terrifies me. I hate it. Have I mentioned that I hate it? Let me show you a detail shot. This is awful. I don't understand it. I don't understand why someone would do this. No, come here. Yeah, and I figured out how to zoom in and zoom out, but this quilt is cursed and it doesn't like it that I said I hated it. And so now it's not being nice to me. It's petty points, it's like, it's called the Target quilt. Here, I've got a little bit about it. It is awesome. Oh God. But it's awesome like a vagina dentata is awesome. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's sort of like oh God. I'm really not looking at it. I'm serious. The Target quilt, Pine Burr overdose. Thank you, little bird. Exactly. L. Riggs, indeed. The Target quilt is apparently a true regional quilt originating almost exclusively in the southern states, or with southern quilt makers whose families migrated elsewhere. Interesting. God, it's like the dune worm. That's what it looks like to me. I just hate it. I really hate it. It's like, it's really freaking me out. Like, it's like, I don't know. Like, there's like a phobia of holes or something, like, I don't think I really have that, except right now I think I do. The Target quilt, or quill, Quill. Let me zoom out. God. Quill quilt, so called because its component parts resemble porcupine quills. Really? Ew. It's hand-pieced of folded triangles like the ones most often found as prairie points, right? What did I say? Petty points? Triangles used as edgings on quilts. The triangles of multicolored scraps are hand-sewn in concentric circles of overlapping rows, completely covering squares of foundation fabric. I mean, it is interesting, right? From a construction point of view, that's cool. Yeah, it must weigh a zillion tons. Yeah, a couple other people, Ms. Ninepatch is saying Pine Burr too. Can you imagine the texture? I know. I don't think the texture would feel very good. I think it would feel bad. The family estimates, look at this. Oh, yeah. Oh, look, Ms. Ninepatch. When the squares were pieced together, the result was an exceptionally heavy quilt. Of course. The family estimates there are more than 42,000 tiny triangles in this stunning piece. The Target quilt's appeal is both tactile and visual. You all are so good. The feel of the piece is fascinating. The bits of folded triangles are stitched down only at their base, so the points of the half-inch pieces are loose and may be ruffled. Target quilts do not meet the classic definition of a quilt because they do not contain quilting stitches. How naive. Inspired by the 1890 to 1910 fad for quilts containing thousands of tiny pieces. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, they talk about that fad. As soon as word got out about a quilt containing 10,000 pieces at that time, someone else would set out to make one with 50,000 pieces, then 75,000. What a bunch of scamps. And this is the woman who made it. See, she had time. She had a lot of time. Laura Sasser. She had nothing but time. And good for her. She made the most terrifying quilt I've ever seen. Okay, just a couple more. This is great. I just think this is really cool. Armadillo, indeed. SJ, what are you up to? You're even getting laughs over here. in the YouTube land. Yeah, porcupine. You know what? Porcupines are cute. They're a hell of a lot cuter than that damn quilt. porcupine would run away from that quilt. It'd be like, ee! That's what a porcupine sounds like. Because they're cute and they go, ee! Yes, bad. It makes me feel bad for armadillos too. Shark teeth, exactly. Shark teeth, sharp toenails. Jill, Alex, you're bringing it back. Everybody's so good tonight. Hey. Yeah. Okay. That's very funny. Okay. So, wait. Little Bird said that the woman who made the quilt looks perfectly normal. She looks so normal. What was she thinking inside of her head? Maybe she wasn't so happy. Maybe she didn't want all that time. Maybe she would have liked to go to college. Okay. Yeah. This is a Red Cross quilt. Anna Claire Tate Stanfield. What did I say? Every single one of these Texas quilt makers has 9 names. This was made in 1918. By the way, 1918 was the last time there was a terrible pandemic. So this quilt was made in a pandemic year, or at a time when the pandemic was about to happen, the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. Oh, and this is a Red Cross quilt. What? And of course I don't have that paper printed out about it. Damn it. I shouldn't have noted the whole pandemic thing. But isn't this cool? So there's signatures. It's a signature quilt. I think, these look like little strawberry seeds or something. I don't know. Some of you might not like this, but it's just so unusual, with the red circles, and I think it's pretty cool. Red, black, and white, and those are the classic colors of a newspaper, Red, black, and white is like, journalism, man. Barbara Kruger, the artist Barbara Kruger. I shop there for I Am, and she does these black and white images with white text on a red square. Barbara Kruger. Anyway, it reminds me of this. And that might be really, really dark blue or indigo or something, but it looks kind of black here. And yeah, the Petri dish. Yeah, I like this one too. Reminds you of a sand dollar. Susan or Michael, you are always like saying you find the thing in here that I can't find myself. I've got a detail of this, I think, and I have the picture of the lady who made it. Damn. If my thing is loaded, I'll try to find it. Yeah, but when I did my QuiltCon lectures last year, I closed every lecture with like a series of quilts that were made in 1918 to remind people that, like, quilters have been here before. They quilted their way through it if they were lucky, and we can do it too. The quilts that we're making now. Just think about it. The quilts that we're making, because this will end. It will. The pandemic will end. It will be over. Maybe not today. Maybe not this year, but it will. The Spanish flu ended eventually. The world was not in a pandemic, and it'll end. This one will end too eventually, coronavirus. And then when we look back, and future generations look back on our quilts that we make now, they'll be like, wow, they made that during the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic of 2020 to 2000 and whatever it's going to be, It's kind of cool. We're just going to have to imagine what the red... Look at this nice lady. Anna Claire Tate Stanfield, Brown Smith Jones. She seems very nice. Yeah, Red Cross quilts are great. Black and white and red all over. Amanda, thank you. Exactly. Popcorn quilts. What is my opinion on popcorn quilts? I don't know what they are. Let me look it up. Popcorn quilts. I know about crumb quilts. I know about layer cakes. Popcorn quilts. I bet everyone knows, and they're like, what? You don't know what those are? Oh, wait a minute. Popcorn quilts. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Okay, sure. Interesting. Because let me write that down. We're going to do a show on popcorn quilts then, because, I see yo-yos and I see little puffs, and I wonder, popcorn quilts, that'll be a great segment. Popcorn quilts. I might have to do that next. I love popcorn. I make a mean pot of popcorn on the stove. It's the only way to do it. Okay, I think this is the last quilt. Is this the last quilt? Oh, no. Oh, dear. Okay, well, this is nice. I gotta wrap this up, you guys. This is my favorite one. This is my favorite one. Of course it is. Melinda Florence Rush Hall, Four Seasons quilt, 1932. Isn't that sweet? Those little, look at, there's a little dog. Look at that little pup. So popcorn quilts, I mean, we're going to talk all about it. I mean, are you saying like, are you saying, I mean, yo-yos, are popcorn quilts in your experience called yo-yo quilts as well? Is that the same or is it different? Very curious. Very curious. Yeah, Raffle Waffle is like thinking it's a yo-yo quilt. Okay, we gotta roll. I got places to be. I don't have anywhere to be. I have nowhere to be. This is the quilt that is attributed to Gazi Hill, an African-American woman in Texas, a string scrap quilt. String scrap. No, I've got a string star quilt. Ugh, fudge. Yeah, but this was another one that I noticed. I was like, yeah, they just talk about, Naive and her skill level and stuff. And I'm like, maybe she didn't have big pieces of fabric to work with, so she made something amazing with very small ones. I mean, it's just lame. Biscuit quilt. You look, we've had sugarloaf tonight. Popcorn. Biscuits. Armadillo. I do. I love this one too. It's great. Yeah, or vote, Eric. I see you. It's great. Not sure if they're the same or different into textured quilts. So, honey, then I feel bad for dogging that quilt. I mean, we all have to have our thing, But if you're into textured quilts, hell yeah, I'll do some texture. I'll do a segment on textured quilts, puff quilts, prairie points, definitely. Biscuit quilts. What other textured quilts, you guys? What else? Well, trapunto. But what else? Popcorn, puff. Not counting art quilts and stuff, Red work has texture. Interesting. Yeah, right. Cork quilts. Cheyenne is saying, Naive, no rotary cutter, no ep kit, no die cutters, and she made this. I have all the tools and software and could never. How beautiful and ambitious. That's the congregation at the same time as the thing, My circle quilt, says Susan or Michael, has crazy seam texture. Oh yeah. Toenail quilts. SJ, you're in trouble. Okay, good. All right, this one's very cool. I had to do this one. Good heavens. I'm reading ahead and I'm scared. This is cool. This is called Expanded Star. Julie Ann Mills True Blood. It's pretty cool. This looks very like 80s to me, just in terms of not the colors, but I don't know, it looks Paducah-ish, kind of Paducah-ish. It's Paducian. And that's Julia. Wow, that is one necklace. That's a whole lot of necklace there. Is that a necklace and a brooch? What is she wearing? I don't know. It's giving me Flintstones. Let's move on. Martha Harriet. I'm getting punchy now. Martha Harriet Kincaid Wilson and her husband George. She made that. I like it. I think it's cool. I don't know. Log cabin, I never get tired of them. And I really like this quilt because there was a lot of quilts I could have chosen from. And I know I picked a lot of the ones that were in that book, obviously. The quilt parade is long. But this is really, it's really nice. It's really nice because of the subtle differences in the work, right? In the pieces. And yeah, I'm just gonna, I think I've exhausted all the photocopies that I made, but I mean, check it out. Like those subtle variations in the silk, and it is silk, right? It is. I mean, I can tell. It's just, I mean, if she had tried to put those, I mean, look at this. Like you've got like this wonderful cream, but then you have this almost sage green. I mean, this is a quilt. I feel like this is a quilt to study if you're an art quilter. Really. I mean, there's so much subtlety here and so much color inspiration, I feel like. And again, if you're interested, this is from Lone Stars, Texas Quilts, Texas Women or something. Carrie Bressenhan and Nancy O'Brien Puentes. It's called Lone Stars, a history, a legacy of Texas quilts. Just Lone Stars, Bressenhan, Texas Quilts, quilt book. You'll find it, on eBay, Abe Books, whatever. But it's just really wonderful. It's just really wonderful. And, it's just so naive because she just didn't have any idea what she was doing. She had no idea. Oh, there's a little detail shot of that. Oh, there's a little girl. Look at that little girl and the little dog. Okay. All right. It's very nice. This is, it's pretty great. It's pretty great. Not naive, I assume, for the writers. But this is cool because of the way, it's so cool, the way those red and white diamonds pop like they're exploding out. Like we talked about floating blocks earlier, right? And those, the red and white diamonds, which are tiny, it's such tiny piecing, but because they're set against that white circle, they really look like they're exploding, like firecrackers, don't they? It's totally masterful. Oh, really? So Honeybee, Baudet has a coat like this right now in Vogue? That's interesting. My video about how that's a cultural crime will be out soon on YouTube. I was editing it all day. In fact, I'm really kind of keyed up and I want to keep editing it so I can put it out and send it to Emily Baudet. Oh, God. Y'all in my video, I get upset and I say swear words a couple times and I cry. And it's what it needs to be. I was too stiff before. I was really reading from a script and stuff. And I got rid of all that. And now it's almost finished because it's going much better. Anyway, yeah, quilting time. Quilting time. Have I said hi to you yet? I don't know. If I haven't, I apologize. But you're right. They look like ears of red and white corn. It's just awesome. It's just awesome. It looks so good. Ooh, and look at the border. Look at the vines. Look how that's so unusual. They're angular. You don't see vines like that. That's really cool. I think that looks really great. Okay. She made it. Sally Beard Llewellyn. She is very thin. Doesn't she look very thin? She's very big ears. Okay. Oh, God. Wow. I'm surprised I copied this one. I don't know. It's not I probably did it because I don't show quilts like this very often because they're not my favorite. Oh, this has tassels. There's some more texture. Quilts with tassels. Happens. I don't know, quilts like this, we've talked about it before. They just make me nervous. It's like a, I'm sorry, I touched your quilt. I'm sorry, and I don't know. It's beautiful though. Think about, the artistry of it. It's crazy. It's so beautiful. And it is creative. And I think that's part of my glitch is I see quilts that are, less by the book, if you will. And I just love that because I don't make things by the book. And honestly, I can't. I could never make this ever. I could never make it. And I don't want to, but that doesn't mean that I should throw shade at people who did. Oh my God, it's a masterpiece of needlework, obviously. And the bunting and everything. I don't know. It's like I'm just self-conscious because I just feel like I would try to help on this quilt and they would ask me to leave. They would. Yeah, rickrack. Oh, does it have rickrack? What's the year on this? Oh no. It's the one I really want to know the year on and I don't have the date. It happens every time. Rickrack. It's hard to tell. It does look like rickrack over here. It really does. Could be embroidery. But that does look like texture, doesn't it? The little yellowish edging on the pink. Very interesting. It still freaks me out. I don't like it. No, I'm kidding. I do like it, but oh yeah, look at this little detail shot. I mean, they stuffed all of that. That's stuffed work. Here again, texture. I'm telling you, it's spooky. It's spooky how the show goes. But that's all stuffed, stuffed work. It reminds me of Elizabeth Gurrier. Remember her? We talked about her. Tassels in the quilt and tassels on the quilt. Tassels on tassels. That's what... Tassels on tassels, says S.J. Pepper. This is what I'm here for. Hey, Quilt Nerd After Dark, I'm telling you, it's going to be a show. It's going to be the spin-off show. It's going to be the After Dark show, and we'll have quilts with tassels, okay? That's a promise. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what I'm saying. Okay. These gals made it. They are sisters. Well, maybe. I don't know. I just made that up, I guess. I feel like I read that they were sisters. All the papers I had, all the presentation materials I had, just, it's like they evaporated as the show has gone on. I apologize. I was making my video. This is the help Mary showing. Okay, good. Prairie points. Yeah, it could be prairie points. This is just, it's pretty, man. It's pretty. I like the way they're sort of, it's kind of like a Feed Me Seymour vibe though too. It's like sticking out like, is it time for lunch? Is it time for my Venus flytrap, self to emerge and, eat your face? I don't know. I don't like it. I've decided I don't like it. Got issues. I really have issues. No, the pink is gorgeous. The pink is gorgeous. And I know why I grabbed this one from the book, because it's different. This seems to me like an original design, and maybe the quilt maker got it out of a magazine. Very likely she did, or a newspaper, because so many patterns were being shared, once newspapers and magazines were published and shipped all across the country, because there were like railroads and stuff. So many quilt patterns were being shared, among communities and nationally, so she may very well have gotten this from a newspaper or something, or a friend shared it with her. But I don't know, it's just the creativity blows me away. There's always a quilt block I've never seen, and it's art. It's art. If you don't want to call it art because you feel that way about it, it's brilliant graphic design, is it not? If that's all you're gonna give it, you gotta give it that. It's just really, really cool. It's really, really cool. The sashing. Toothy triangles. Yeah, maybe it's toothy triangles. I'm a hilarious critique. Well, I'm getting real punchy. Lillian says, I know a couple people who have made quilts for loved ones that are blind and deliberately add a lot of texture so the giftee can see them with their hands. That's so great. Love that. Ooh. Matelasse. So, honeybee, what's that? I'm writing it down. Matelasse with an accent on the E. I don't know what that is. The Target quilt was really, really cool. It was cool. Is that it? Wait a minute. Is that all? That is all. It was cool. Let's look at it one more time. And we should appreciate it. I guess. Who said that? SJ? I dated this guy, Klaus. Oh, God. Shh. Klaus was a philosophy professor. He wrote books on Nietzsche, and he was German, and he was really cute, and I was pretty into him, but he was into me. He picked me up at a bar. Anyway, so Klaus, there were problems. We didn't stay together. I broke up with him. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, he was German, and there was a really funny expression that didn't translate very well into English, and it's like when you're in trouble, like we say, like, hey, you're on thin ice, like S.J. Pepper, you're on thin ice. You're not, but but Klaus would say, the cow is on the ice. And I was like, what? And he's like, the cow is on the ice, it's you're in danger, or you're in trouble. And I just think that is so hilarious. Like, there's a cow on the ice. You better just stop whatever you're doing, and deal with it. Anyway, I just thought it was really funny. Is Klaus still single? I don't know. I don't look him up. Probably. Maybe he's watching right now. Klaus, It just couldn't work out. I was crazy about you. I think I should probably stop there, right? He was so cute. And you know what? Klaus was really good for me because, you know, I just think I'm an imposter, you know, all the time. Like, I just, you know, I'll like do a bunch of cool stuff that I'm really proud of myself for, and it will evaporate like that. You know, it just like completely leaves my mind, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not, you know. But he was like, you know, he was this brainy guy, and I knew a bunch of stuff he didn't know. You know, I mean, I know that sounds really naive and like kind of like, but it's true. He, you know, he's published books on philosophy, and he's like this professor, and he was like, you're so interesting. And I was like, yes, I am. God, I am interesting. Now, tell me about existentialism some more so I can tell you what you're wrong about, you know, stuff like that. Oh, Lord. Anyway, okay. That's what I got for you. Give him your... listen, SJ. Well, let's have a talk. SJ Pepper just said, give him my Instagram. You know what? Don't, I will, but let's have a conversation first. Good God almighty. French quilting. Okay. Oh, yeah. Matelasse French. I mean, I know about boutique French quilting, but maybe it's... Anyway, I'll look into it. Oh, I'm not looking at this quilt. We're not doing this. No. What fun. You know what? I really had fun tonight. I started out a little bit shaky, but it left me. I love that Bicentennial quilt so much. It's like, and you know, Black History Month is next month, but like, why wait for that? You know, I mean, I didn't think about doing that, but like, you know, I was thinking that quilt is such a great lesson. It's like a primer, right? Like they said, or primer for some really fundamental knowledge of Black history in America, you know? And so then I was thinking about Black History Month, and it's like, yeah, that quilt is really great. And so if you are, you know, hey, Molly's a librarian and stuff, you know, there's lots of people who, you know, if you do anything for Black History Month or you post about it, or, you know, that quilt's like really great. So use that, you know, if you are so inclined. Oh God, it's still behind me. No, I'm not. I didn't try to do that. No, I didn't want that. I don't want that. Oh, that's from last week. Okay, yeah. Now we're back to the beginning. Thank you so much, Dana. This was Matt Lise. Thank you, Elaine, or Nunmaker. I don't know why I keep doing that. Dear Michael, Alanis Morissette. It is a pleasure. It's a joy to be here with you all. And I only ate one crisp. I can have another one. It's 9:48. We can talk about ex-boyfriends more. I mean, I've got a lot of them. Not a lot of them. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'll see you on Thursday at 11 a.m. Central. I don't know what we're gonna look at, but you know what? I know. I don't want to dream of this scary quilt. I don't want to. So, honey, it's my pleasure. Everybody, Eric, it's so good to see you back at the show, and everybody, even you, SJ Pepper. I don't know. I'm just stalking because I don't want to go. I'm gonna go. You're the best, and I'll see you later. And I'll see you Thursday. And bring a friend if you like this show. Tell somebody about it. That's a great way to make me happy. It's a great way to make me smile. But thanks so much for all my subscribers and everybody. And I will see you later.